Fuel theft in the Philippines, often called Paihi, a local term for siphoning fuel from tanks, is a persistent issue involving both small-scale and organized operations. For common forms of community-based fuel theft from parked public and private vehicles, it is a persistent issue driven by rising fuel prices and vulnerabilities in vehicle security. Here's a detailed breakdown of prevention strategies and key insights. 1. Common theft methods. A. Siphoning. Thieves use plastic tubes to drain fuel tanks, often targeting older vehicles without anti-siphoning technology. Modern cars with locking fuel caps are less vulnerable, but trucks and fleet vehicles remain at risk. B. Tank drilling. Criminals drill holes into fuel tanks for rapid extraction, a destructive method that damages vehicles and risks fires or explosions. C. Fuel cap tampering. Breaking locks or cutting fuel lines to access tanks, often leaving visible damage. 2. Prevention strategies. For private vehicles. A. Locking fuel caps. Install aftermarket locking caps, 500 pesos to 1,000 pesos, to deter siphoning. Many newer cars have these built in. B. Park in well-lit, high-traffic areas or private garages. C. Position the fuel door toward the street to increase visibility. D. Surveillance. Use motion-activated lights or CCTV cameras near parking spots. For public, fleet vehicles. A. GPS tracking. Systems like CarTrack's Me Fleet monitor fuel levels in real time, flagging sudden drops or unauthorized stops. B. Anti-siphoning devices. Reinforced tank covers or metal grids in fuel fillers prevent tube insertion. C. Driver accountability. Track driving behavior, examples: idling, route deviations, to identify insider theft. 3. Detection and response. A. Signs of theft. Fuel odor near the vehicle, puddles under the car or a sudden drop in fuel levels. B. Immediate actions. File a police report under the revised Penal Code, Article 308, contact insurance providers for comprehensive coverage claims. 4. Legal and economic impact. A. Penalties. Fuel theft is punishable by fines and imprisonment. Repeat offenders face harsher sentences. B. Costs. Repairing drilled tanks costs 70,000 pesos to 80,000 pesos on average, not including lost fuel. 5. Broader solutions. A. Fuel marking program. Government partnerships with Société Générale de Surveillance, SGS, authenticate legally sourced fuel, deterring resale of stolen diesel. B. Community vigilance. Report suspicious activity, example, a person loitering near parked vehicles with containers, to local authorities. Combining technology, such as GPS and alarms, physical security, like locking caps, and legal enforcement can significantly reduce fuel theft risks in the community level. For common forms of company-based or organized fuel theft operations. A. Government vehicle exploitation. Employees at agencies like the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, MMDA, have been caught stealing diesel from official vehicles. For example, 3 MMDA workers were arrested in Mandaluyong for selling pilfered fuel to jeepney drivers. B. Maritime fuel pilferage. Ships and boats engage in large-scale theft, such as the 2023 case where the MV Marola 1 illegally transferred 20,000 to 30,000 liters of diesel to 3 smaller vessels near Navotas. C. Fuel smuggling. Misdeclaration of fuel grades, volumes and offshore transfers by ships to evade taxes cost the government significant revenue. 2. Enforcement challenges. A. Repeat offenders. Some perpetrators, like MMDA workers, were previously caught but not charged due to leniency, example. In the spirit of Christmas, in 2022. B. Geographic spread. Theft occurs nationwide, including in Manila, Batangas, and Bataan, complicating monitoring. 3. Countermeasures. A. Fuel integrity programs. Since 2019, SGS has partnered with the government to mark taxed fuels and conduct depot inspections to curb smuggling. B. Coast Guard patrols. The Philippine Coast Guard, PCG, actively detains vessels involved in fuel theft, as seen in the M.V. Marola 1 case. C. Private sector solutions. Companies like CarTrack recommend GPS tracking, fuel tank locks, and driver education to prevent theft in fleets. 4. Broader impacts. A. Economic losses. Fuel smuggling alone deprives the government of taxes needed for public services. B. Operational risks. Tampering with fuel tanks or pipelines can lead to environmental damage and safety hazards. Fuel theft remains a multifaceted challenge in the Philippines, requiring tighter enforcement, technology adoption, and public-private collaboration to mitigate. In the Philippines, penalties for fuel theft can include fines, imprisonment, forfeiture of stolen goods, and license revocation, depending on the nature and severity of the offense. Specific penalties vary based on the quantity of fuel stolen, the intent of the thief, and whether it's a simple theft or a more serious crime like robbery. Penalties for fuel theft. 1. Theft, as defined in the Revised Penal Code, is punished by various penalties depending on the value of the stolen property. For example, theft of property valued over 5,000 pesos but not exceeding 20,000 pesos is punishable by arresto mayor in its medium period to prisión correccional in its minimum period. Additional penalties may apply if the theft is committed by a domestic servant, or if it involves grave abuse of confidence. 2. Fuel marking violations. The Train Law, RA 10963, mandates fuel marking and penalties for selling, trading, or transporting unmarked fuel. First offenders face a fine of 2.5 million pesos, second offenders 5 million pesos, and third offenders 10 million pesos, along with license revocation. Tampering with fuel marking dies also carries similar penalties. 3. Qualified theft. If the fuel theft is accompanied by other aggravating circumstances, such as using force or intimidation, or if the value of the stolen fuel is significant, it may be classified as qualified theft, which carries heavier penalties. 4. Other penalties. Penalties may also include forfeiture of the stolen fuel and/or the means used to commit the theft, and suspension or revocation of business permits or licenses. Important considerations. 1. Bail. In general, theft offenses are bailable, especially those with property values below 8,700,000 pesos. 2. Probation. Certain offenses, including those involving fuel theft, may not be covered by the probation law. 3. Appeals. Individuals convicted of fuel theft have the right to appeal the court's decision.
A society thrives when peace and order are preserved, laying a solid foundation for equity and justice. Upholding honest practices in governance ensures that all voices are heard and respected. Communities flourish when individuals engage actively, fostering a culture of trust and collaboration. In this environment, safety flourishes and the dignity of every person is cherished, creating a harmonious place for all to thrive.